What's up, guys? 14.8 just got released on League of Legends, but we just got an insight into patch 14.9. It is a big deal for Fiora. A lot of changes to fighter items. We gotta get right into this. So what I've gone ahead and done is made the wolf rating. So basically I just took these items that are getting changed and I gave them like a 1 through 10 rating, but instead of doing 1 through 10, I actually just added a 0 so that it looked different. So it's like 1 through 100. Obviously 50 would be average. Anything above is good. 40 and below, average. We get the point, right? It's 1 to 10. Except I added a 0. Okay, first thing we're going to look at is death stance. I'm giving that currently an 82. That's what I think it is right now. An 82 is still really good. I think it's a great item, but obviously you wouldn't buy it into like heavy AP enemies and stuff like that. But it's getting buffed here. So death stance buff 14.9, by the way. Pickaxe added to the recipe. AD increased from 55 to 60. Fiora loves AD. We love that. And heal bonus AD ratio increased from 50% to 70%. That's the heal that you get when you take damage and then you're like holding the damage as it's buffering through, and you heal after you finish the takedown, get an assist, kill, whatever it may be. So the pickaxe getting added for one is huge because you have the steel sigil in the warhammer and it's like 1,000 gold, 1,100, and then you need 1,000 gold to complete the item. 875 from the pickaxe leaves a 125 gold completion. So that means there's more opportunity for you to pick up some more AD before you actually finish the item, because building into death stance has always sucked. Once you get the item, that's great, but building into it, not the greatest thing. Currently giving it an 82. With this buff, we're going to bump that up to an 87. I think that it's actually a nice buff. Anything below 60 AD Fiora, typically, don't really like it too much. So getting it up to 60 and getting that extra healing as well. Thumbs up from me. I'm pretty excited about that. Next item we're going to look at is Maw. So they're going to be changing Maw as well. So the Hex Drinker here, longsword added to recipe, price unchanged, MR reduced from 35 to 30. Now this is considered a change, not a nerf, nor a buff. So they're adding a lot to it here. So the cost is increased from 2,800 to 3,100. Pickaxe and longsword replaced by warhammer and recipe. Shield duration increased from 2.5 seconds to 3. The passive lifesteal is reduced from 12% to 8%. This is the lifesteal you get when the shield is procced. And then they're also adding ability haste to the item, making it 15 instead of 0. MR is getting reduced from 50 to 40, but it's getting an 80 increase from 65 to 70. So it's minus 10 MR. We get the plus 5 on the AD. We get the plus 15 on the ability haste. We get a little bit less lifesteal, but I mean, any amp to lifesteal is great for Fiora. She uses lifesteal really well, so I don't think it affects us too much. Plus the 300 in gold cost. So in my opinion, I actually consider this a buff. I think getting the 15 ability haste is really nice. I don't really care too much about the lifesteal passive being reduced. I don't think that affects. The MR getting reduced kind of stinks. Not too excited about that. I'd say that's the only downside to it, but overall I would consider this change to be a buff for Fiora. So when I look at the scale here, I would currently give Maul about a 76. So not the greatest, but it's pretty good, right? But with this buff, it's going up to 80. I think that is a great item, especially against AP. I think that it's 70 AD. Oh, we love that. 70 AD plus items for Fiora. I love to see it. So that is a huge change. Very excited about the death stance and Maul changes. Really hype about that. Jumping into the next item here, we got a Sterak's nerf. So this isn't too crazy. The cost is increased to 3,100 from 3,000. So nothing too crazy, but this cooldown is increased to 90 seconds from 60. This is kind of big here. That is a whole, 50% increase on the time for the cooldown. This is the cooldown that you get when you get the shield, when you get bursted out, basically. Let's say you were to die and you had proc your Steraks and then you teleport into a fight immediately when you spawn. This is not going to be ready to go anymore. There is some, niche situations where you're not going to have that cooldown when you really want it because of this. And I do think that that does hurt Fiora a little bit. And I do like this item for Fiora. I think this item is pretty good for her. So, not too happy about this nerf. Not excited about that. Currently, I give Steraks a 75. I think it's good. I build it here and there, not every game by any means, but I still think that is a good item. And I enjoy building this item because especially it scales off your level. So when you're level 18, you get like 64 AD off of it, plus all the HP, the tenacity. I mean, it's just a nice item to have. With this nerf, I'm jumping it down to 72. Nothing too crazy. I still think the item's good. I'll probably still build it in certain situations, especially into bursty enemy team comps. So it's still a good item, and I'm okay with it. I mean, I know that some champions use Steraks much better than Fiora does, so it's all right. The next item that's on the list is Sundered Sky. Sundered Sky just doesn't really have a place for Fiora. We don't really build it on Fiora, and I thought I was crazy. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, is it just me? Am I the only one that doesn't like Sundered Sky? So I went and looked. at pro builds for a little bit. I was scrolling down and I found one person who used it against the Gnar and they lost. And then I was scrolling more and I just didn't see anybody else who was using it. So I was like, okay, well, what about if I go and look at just Fiora items in general? And then I saw that, 2% of people build it. It's a 55% win rate and it's really not that great. And keep in mind, this is a completed item. So when you see the 56% win rate, it doesn't hold that much weight because look at Sterak with like a 62%, but then you see Ravenous with a 50%. So why would Ravenous have such a lower win rate? Because it's the item that everybody builds first, right? So some games, most games are going to end before you even get to your third or fourth or fifth item. So that's why that win rate is kind of like, it just looks a little bit different, especially like Spear's Shojin, 62%, you know? So I went and looked and, you know, it's really just not popular. I never thought it was that good. Don't really see any of my peers that play Fiora using Sundered Sky either. It's a low AD item. I don't think it's that great. You know, it's got 45 AD on it. I mean, it does have a lot of HP, but at the same time, it's never really thought it was good. So Sundered Sky, it's getting nerfed. Cooldown increased from 6 seconds to 8. Heal bonus is getting reduced. Heal health ratio reduced. So the healing and the cooldown getting messed with a little bit here. In my opinion, this works really well for Fiora once again because the champions that build Sundered Sky give us trouble. So now their build is getting nerfed a little bit. So once again, this is another good thing for Fiora. Everything I see about these items so far, I'm pretty excited about. Now, currently, I would have given Sundered Sky like a 55, you know, like, okay, I'll give it a shot this game. You know what I mean? But after this nerf, I don't see a point. I'm putting it below the 50% or the 50 margin. I'm saying this is below average and not worth building. So Sundered Sky, didn't really think it was worth building in the first place. Now I really don't think it is. So Eclipse seems to be getting nerfed and it's just a little bit here. So the HP scaling, target HP scaling, the extra damage you do basically when you proc Eclipse, it's 8% physical damage here. Let me look at the client real quick and I can show you. Hitting a champion with 3 separate attacks or abilities within 2 seconds deals additional damage and grants you shield. That's the Ever Rising Moon passive. And that's the 8% damage that you're getting. And it's like 8% max health physical damage. So it can be, you can build armor to negate that damage just a little bit. It's going from 8% down to 6%. So this is a really small nerf. This is a really small nerf. So I don't think it's anything too crazy. I think Eclipse is an amazing item for Fiora. I currently would give Eclipse in the 90s, a 92. I do think that it hurts a little bit. You know what I mean? So I'll bring it down to 90 after the nerf. But at the same time, what does Fiora really love about Eclipse? 2,800 gold, 70 AD. It's got the ability haste. It gives you a shield. You get the bonus damage that kind of works with the way Fiora's kit is, right? It's 3 auto attacks to proc the passive damage from Eclipse, and Fiora works that really well. Even with PTA, that works really well. So just the item and Fiora, they mesh really well together. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fighter items that Fiora builds that are being changed. And I think that this next patch, 14.9, is a huge double thumbs up for Fiora. I'm super excited about this. Excited to see Maw get a buff. Excited to see all of this. Sundered Sky nerf, the champions that build these are going to go down a little bit. So overall, man, patch 14.9 looking really good for us, guys. Really good for the Fiora players. I just wanted to throw this out there. I just saw this and I was like, I gotta make a video. I gotta talk about this. So that is the video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Cannot wait for 14.9. It's gonna be a good time. Until next time, guys. Peace, love. Bye-bye.